You're listening to Permission to Shine, the podcast. Stories of overcoming obstacles and finding self-empowerment with Sherisse Bisram, Inner Power Activation Leader. The Oxford Dictionary describes permission as the action of officially allowing someone to do a particular thing, consent, authorization. What if you were that someone and you gave yourself the permission to be everything you wanted to be and more? No more playing small and accepting less than. You are worthy of the life of your dreams, regardless of what it is that you've been through. And honestly, it's exactly what you've been through that has shaped you into the version of yourself that you are now. Like a diamond, you've endured so much, but instead of breaking, you have become stronger and brighter. And if that's not a reason to shine, then I don't know what is. And if nature can do it, then why the hell can't you? You are brave, you are strong, you are powerful, and you are enough. Hear my call and give yourself the permission to shine, because you don't realise how many people are inspired by your light. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 38. I can't believe I'm on 38 episodes already. It's crazy that, thinking about how last year went and all of the seeds that I kind of planted and how they're flourishing, which is so lovely. But I'll go more into that in a moment, because what I wanted to talk about today was obviously the fact that if you're listening up today, it's the new year, kind of new me vibe at the moment. Everyone's in that mindset. People are setting new goals and goal posts for their life and their career. Some people are trying to transform everything in one day, in 1 week. And it becomes a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people. And actually, if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I did a poll about this just a couple of days ago, just asking how people are feeling. And the majority of people said either meh, like they don't know, or overwhelmed. And I think that that really is a common theme with the New Year period. And actually, I come to bring some groundbreaking news, if you're not aware, that actually the astrological New Year isn't until spring, which makes sense to me, because actually the reason I think we feel so out of sorts in the new year now is because our bodies are designed to be in winter and hibernation mode. So it seems almost abruptive to start a new cycle for our lives when we're supposed to be resting. And I think that's a really interesting notion to throw at you if you haven't thought about that already. So if you are feeling like, I can't be bothered, like this is not for me, I need to just chill, this is why. It's because it's actually not what our human nature is designed for. But equally, we all run on different seasons, so what might work for someone else works for someone else. And I think that's really it. At the moment is about really listening to what it is you want, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today, as well as other things. So I kind of want to go with this theme of like the new year new me thing, but my whole ethos on this is, instead of new year new me, it should be new year more me. And what I mean by that is, I feel like last year, just society as a whole was becoming more aware of the fact that we have been conditioned to live our life a certain way, whether it be go to college, go to university, get a job, get a good job, find a partner, have a baby, buy a house, get married, all of the things. And actually it wouldn't be even that way around, would it? If we were thinking about the traditional way, it'd be get married, buy a house, have a kid. But all of that notion, I feel like we've been slowly pulling apart, and I think it's probably, perhaps my generation or the generation just before me. I think, we're kind of getting to that point where we're realizing that actually isn't what we want. So many people are, choosing not to get married, choosing not to be in a relationship. There's so many things that we are shaking up now. And I feel like this connection to conforming is really what we're all trying to pull apart and dismantle in our own ways. And that really ties into this new year construct of being a new version of you. Because actually, if we take apart all of what you already are and what you're already doing, so say, for example, you're in a job at the moment, you're not particularly fond of it, But you do it just for the sake of working, for the sake of working. And actually, what you'd really be loving to do is bake full time and own your own patisserie. This is really where, for me, my call to you is, how can you be more of you, who you truly are in your essence? Because I think purpose is another thing that ties really beautifully into this whole conversation. So when we think about, like I said, about being more of you, who are you under all of the layers of what you are doing? Because this is the feminine and masculine part that I talk about with the energy, is that obviously the masculine energy is doing, the feminine energy is being. So at your core base level, you have both, obviously within your body, but who you truly are in the root of you probably is connected to that divine feminine energy in some way. Now, you know, we all have that, whether you identify as male or female, you have that in your body. And that's really what I want you to get out of you. You know, I always talk about this inner light inside of you that we need to let out and let shine. It's scary to get there, you know, and especially if you are thinking about it in a very literal way of, you've been doing your 9 to 5 for the last 15 years, it doesn't fulfill you, but really you want to own this bakery and do baking full time. To break out of that social contract and norm that you've created for yourself is really scary, and it will require sacrifice and hardship, but ultimately you will feel so much more fulfilled every single day baking your cakes and watching people eat them than you ever have going to your 9 to 5 and working for someone else. Now, that is a very literal way of looking at this, but it could be in so many different ways. And I just wanted to show you that as an example of um, how choosing you will give you more fulfillment. Now, that is probably on a scale of 5 to 10 years, you leaving your 9 to 5 and doing the patisserie, but it can be sooner than that. Maybe it's making daily and weekly and monthly choices to invest into what it is you like to do. So maybe you keep your 9 to 5 for a little while, for at least yet another year, to stack up a bit more cash if that's what you want to do. And then you start to do some baking at the weekends and you start to sell your cakes as a little side hustle, and then maybe that starts to build, and then you go part-time, and then you start to open the shop because you have so many people interested. So there's lots of ways to create your reality that you want. And the problem is, when we've done things a certain way for so long, we become stuck in that kind of ethos. And it's really funny actually, because I've been told this week alone that I'm a resourceful person. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so resourceful." I've heard it about 3 times, and I was like, maybe I am, and maybe because I look at life like that. And I talk about zooming out quite a lot, because it really is that idea that you can pick apart a situation. It doesn't have to be the whole. You know, you can pull it all apart like little fragments, and look at it in that way. And a kind of an example of that for me is obviously how I've, you know, been able to run my business and you know, do all of the other things that I do as well, you know, the teaching dance, public speaking, all of the things, is all connected to the fact that I like to have lots of plates spinning. But equally, a massive thing for me has been finding more flow within that, because I naturally, I guess, have this way of finding, you know, lots of options and lots of things to do, because I'm passionate about lots of things. But if too many plates are spinning at one time, then I feel overwhelmed. So yeah, we're all on our own journeys of finding what works for us. But equally, what I would say more than anything in my journey to tell you is that everything that I'm doing fulfills me so much, apart from the admin stuff, which is annoying. But in general, the delivery of everything I do, I absolutely adore, and it fills me up so much. But have I had to take sacrifice in that? Have I had hardships in that? Have I had financial strain in that? Absolutely. You know, that's all part and parcel of this journey. And I think if you listen to or watch any entrepreneur or business person or successful sportsman, they'll all tell you that failing is the road to success. So if you're feeling like, I don't want to do that thing because I'm scared of failure, then you will never do it, because you have to fail or have a hardship every step of the way. And it's quite funny, because I did a video about this as well, about Harry Potter. Now, I don't know if anyone's seen Harry Potter. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have. But basically, Harry Potter is the chosen one, right? Everyone knows him as this wizard that was chosen. And it happened to him at birth. Like he basically didn't get killed when he should have done. And I say should have done by the baddie. And his whole life in Hogwarts, in the school, he always gets into trouble, but ultimately always saves the day and gains skills that take him into the next episode, the next series, the next film. So all the way through his journey, every time something hard happens, he learns a new skill set, which ultimately supports him in the next part of his journey. And I think that's a beautiful way of looking at life for you, because you are the hero of your own journey. So when you think about this is difficult, this is hard, this is scary, my question to you straight away would be, what is this teaching me? And that's really what my learnings have been throughout my life as a whole, because I've learned so many different skills that I don't think a 18-year-old probably had in their repertoire. But for me, because I was obviously trying to survive and protect and all of those things, I was learning these things so young. But even to this day, I'm learning constantly. And I think that's a really beautiful space to be in, is that you're always a student of life, because ultimately we don't know everything in the whole world. You know, it could be that I record this episode today and actually in 3 years' time I listen back and I was like, wow, I was wrong. You know, that's really a healthy way to look at life as a whole. But yes, I guess getting back to that place of being more you. And this all ties in, you know, like what I'm saying is about obviously how we're fearful. We're fearful of it doesn't work. But what if it does? You know? And I think that's what I'm saying is that if you have this big goal or dream that you want to achieve for yourself and you're scared, like how about if it worked? You know, how about if everything you were doing right now paid off? How would you think, feel, and be if that was to happen? You know, and it's been in that energy of the success rather than thinking about the how. And we talk about that a lot in finding purpose and all of the things. But ultimately, I believe that your purpose is who you are at that core level, that version of you that is the more you, you know. And I think purpose for me ties in with true happiness. And and the thing is about happiness as well, it is an ever flowing, changing state of being. And your purpose might be too, you know, for every layer of our lives, there's another theme of what's happening. You know, for women, for example, motherhood takes on a whole new purpose for you. And that's really okay. And I just think, really and truly, if you're struggling at the moment with finding your purpose, I would ask you, like, what do you enjoy doing? Who are you at your core level? You know, like if you didn't have to work and earn money, what would you be spending your time doing? Because if it's art, or if it's speaking with people, if it's um yeah, caring for people, if it's cooking, you know, these are all of what your purpose is. And it really is that easy and that simple. We just overcomplicate everything. And I speak about that all the time. You're probably tired of hearing me say it, but we really do. And I, hand on heart, say that with a full chest, because I do it too. You know, I'm never coming from a place of being better than anyone. This is all my learnings that I'm going through and sharing with you, because we are human and we're having a human experience. And there are going to be times where we make bad choices, we lash out, we do the wrong thing. And I think that's all okay. And again, part of this journey and process. So, yeah, I don't want you to feel like you have to go into this new year doing all of these new things to add on top of everything else you're already doing. What I would like you to do is try to strip back a little bit. You know, what can you let go of or release or stop doing this year? That would be great for you, you know, because ultimately, when we talk about manifestations and things like that, the things you want to call into your life, you can't call in anything if you don't have the space for it. You know, like I think if you want I don't know, say you want new clothes, for example, if your wardrobe's already full, where are you going to put the new clothes? That's exactly the same with you know, these new habits that you want to create for yourself. If you haven't stopped doing old habits that don't serve you, the new ones won't sit. And I think that that is so powerful in itself. Like, even when I'm saying that, I'm like, wow, that's a revelation, you know. I didn't even think about that before, but it really is that simple, you know. If you find that you are binge eating when you watch TV of an evening, so say you want to start new healthy habits, right? And your goal for 2024 was to eat healthier and yeah, get on the health kick. That's really what you wanted to do. Maybe go to the gym more. That's all part of it. And you're doing that throughout the day. But then in the evening, because you've had a long day or whatever, and that's your you time, and then you sit and eat snacks all evening, you're just undoing everything you've already done. So for me personally, if I was going to be brutally honest, it wasn't the new year, I would say just stop snacking. You know, that for me would be a really easy way for you to start finding the health option for yourself. Because if you stopped snacking on the thing, and then in a couple of weeks and months you started going to the gym more, you started eating more healthier foods, you would have already created a safe space for it to happen. But what's happening, we're trying to add these healthy habits on top of the bad ones instead of dismantling the old ones. So if I've personally attacked you there, I apologize. But equally, there's another way to do this. So maybe it's not that we eradicate the bad habit, but we change it. So instead of you watching a movie having crisps and chocolate, maybe you're having carrot sticks and hummus or fruit, or maybe you do that a little bit earlier in the day. So if you can find, say when you're getting from work and you have your dinner, maybe straight away after dinner you snack and watch a film. You maybe limit yourself to like one chocolate and a handful of crisps that you put into a bowl. And then that's earlier than what you normally would. So instead of doing that at 10 o'clock at night and then having crisps and chocolate in your body that late, you're doing it earlier. There is so many different ways for you to do this. And I think that, yeah, it doesn't have to be difficult or hard as we make it out to be. It doesn't have to be as difficult or as hard as we make it out to be, because ultimately there is hardship in every challenge. You know, every time you try something different or new, it feels uncomfortable. And that really is the process of growing. You know, if you want to grow and become, you know, more you, or a deeper, better, stronger, whatever version of you it is, it's going to require some level of uncomfortability. And that's why so many people set their goals. And gyms, for example, have the highest sign up rate in January, and then the highest like fallout rate by March, because people can't stay consistent. And I think instead of shaming yourself about that, is finding achievable balance within it. And that's the same with everything, you know. But my thing, like I'm saying, is about how can you be more of the version of yourself that one you want to be and one that you truly are inside. Because I think that a great way, and this all coincides, and that's why I'm kind of like needle and threading this through, because who you truly want to be and who you are right now at your core level is ultimately the same person, the same thing, because you are an evolution of. So who you are now is an evolution of who you will be if you continue to lead life the way you want to. And I think that's it, because so many of us, like I said, are, you know, doing things we don't want to do, whether it's the job, whether it's mindlessly, you know, eating without realizing it. You know, maybe we're snacking on things all the time, and I keep using that one as an example, but you know, it could just be scrolling, you know, the doom scroll. It could be that maybe that's taken up a lot of your time, and you're realizing that actually in between your rest periods, instead of maybe going for a walk and getting some fresh air, you're actually just sitting on your phone and just scrolling, and then you're wasting hours of your own day. And actually you could use that time to be more productive or read a book or, you know, whatever. But what I will say in all of this, please don't take my examples literally, because if you enjoy having a snack, watching your film of an evening, do it still. If you like scrolling through your phone and you're not you don't care about how much time you're doing that for, keep doing it. Like, this is all personal to you. I'm just trying to give examples that make sense to everyone, because yeah, I mean, we could pick up anyone's, but they're like probably the most common that people can all relate to for sure. But yeah, I think even in my own life, like, I forget how disciplined I am, and it's been a period of you know, my whole life that I've accumulated all of these little kind of healthy habits. And, you know, it takes 21 days to build a habit. So whatever it is new that you're trying to create, if you fall off on the 2nd of Jan or 3rd of Jan, you've still got time, you know. And that's part of being human and the process. I think you have to fall off a few times. One, to prove to yourself, is this what I want to do? Because you can set that bold, audacious goal that you're going to go to the gym every day, and actually you might not feel like it one day, and that's okay. You know, you're allowed to not do that all the time. Maybe it's that you wanted to read, you want to start reading a book, and actually you haven't picked up a book yet. Go to the store at the next available time, find a couple of books that you like. Maybe you write them on your list so you're prepared for the next time you're ready to read your book. And a most important part of this is create space for it. Like, if you want to go to the gym every day, but your schedule's chock a block, again, what can you remove to make space for that? Maybe it's that you finish work at 6 and you normally come home, do the dinner for your family, and you just, by the time that you get in, you have to put the kids to bed, it's just too much. Maybe you buy the groceries, you tell your partner or whoever you live with, this is what's for dinner, can you put it on? I'm going to go to the gym. And then instead of getting home at 6, you go to the gym, you come home at 7, dinner's ready, you eat it, you go to bed. And maybe you don't do that every night, but that's a way for you to find the space for it. And equally the book, you know, if it's that in your lunch breaks, again, you're doom scrolling, maybe it's that you set a limit, a time limit on your phone for how long you'll scroll for. You can set an alarm, you can set a reminder, and it'll just come up at the set time. So say your lunch breaks at 2 every day. That's probably quite late, isn't it, for a lot of people? I eat lunch at 2, but my day's always a bit pushed back. Maybe 12, let's say 12. Maybe your lunch breaks at 12. You have an hour. Maybe have like 15 minutes to prep your lunch or whatever you're going to make, and then you have 15 minutes to doom scroll, and then you've got half an hour to read. There you go. You can set that in. And I think people find that quite regimented when I say about setting the times, but until it becomes a natural habit, you almost need to do that. You need to be accountable through every stage of you setting these goals, because what happens is when we're not accountable, that's when we fall off. So you're allowed to fall off if it feels right to. So don't get me wrong, like if you wake up and you're having a bad day or whatever it is, or maybe that your work's overloaded that day and you can't read, maybe it's that you just say to yourself, okay, right, today's not the day that I read, or maybe I'll read in the evening before bed instead. You know, you find another way to do it. And also, if you're not feeling it, that's okay too, you know, but don't get into the habit of, oh, I didn't go, let's say gym, I didn't go to the gym today, but I'll go tomorrow. And then you don't go tomorrow. And then you don't go the next day. You don't go the next day. It's almost like you have to stop yourself from creating that unhealthy habit. And it's always, always in your power. And I think this is the thing about when I talk about living mindlessly and we're kind of just going through the motions of the things that we don't always want to do. When we set a new goal, a new habit, a new routine that we want to achieve, it makes us be conscious of our lives when actually a lot of the time we spend our life unconscious, which I've been speaking about. So that in itself is a shock to the system, because you are becoming so much more aware of yourself, your body, your habits. And I think if we can step into that part, the self-awareness first, then, you know, get rid of the things that don't serve us, then the new things come in as a healthy way of doing it. The cycle becomes very clear and it becomes manageable. So that's really what my point is to the new year, new me cycle, and why it doesn't always work. And equally how you can be more of you by releasing out the things that don't serve you first. And we were really lucky. Well, I say lucky, I feel like I went through some crazy emotions. I was crazy. I was crazy AF on the full moon and yeah, the new year period. I think it was definitely hormones, but also, yeah, I think the purging up of like really old toxic behavior patterns that needed to come out to the surface. And that's what's the great thing about releasing, because with women as well, especially in your menstrual cycle, when you actually have your period, you are naturally releasing out toxins, feelings, thoughts, energy that doesn't serve you anymore. So we have that natural detoxification process in our bodies. And then we connect that with the full moon energy. That's just double whammy. So if you found that your cycle falls on a full moon, that's so powerful. Mine was just slightly after, so the remnants of the energy was still kind of in play. And yeah, I think for me, that was a great way for me to release out everything that I didn't want to be or do. And actually, I woke up on the 2nd of January and like all of my bills had come out, and I was like, ah, life. I was like, life, what do I do? And I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was like, how am I going to make this year different to what I did the last year? And, you know, being in your own business, it's like there's no safety net. It's like you are doing this on your own. And I was like, I'm not hustling. I'm not doing the hustle thing anymore. It doesn't work for me. So I had to just really sit down and pull everything apart and be like, okay, what do I want to do differently this year? How do I want this to work for me? I have my goals of what I want to achieve, but what do I need to do energetically that's different? And, you know, one of the main things for me is don't panic. Just don't panic, because the thing is, when we go into panic mode, we then start to maybe repeat old cycles, you know, go into, for me it'd be control. So I'd be trying to control every situation. How can I do this? What can I do to do that for, you know? And what I did was I just sat on it for a bit. I calmed myself down, and I was like, right, how's this going to look? And then what do I need to change in me? And I realized that obviously as well are still hormonal, is that I need to be thinking about the energy behind what it is I want to achieve and why. So instead of me thinking about the tangible thing about how much money it costs to do X, Y, Z, it's like, how does it feel to be this person that does all of these things and has all of these things, and getting into that mindset shift of abundance, because you know, we all deserve to live an absolutely abundant life, whatever abundance looks like for you. And for me, that looks like, you know, financial freedom. It looks like healthy relationships. It looks like working with incredible clients consistently. It looks like having a community and, you know, sharing my knowledge with people that resonate deeply. And yeah, all of these things, that's what abundance looks like for me. So I had to tap back into that. And it's hard to do that when fear takes over, because you can't be fearful and joyful at the same time. They're just polar opposites. So, yeah, it was really important for me to dissect all of that. And I feel like going through that on the 2nd was great for me, because although it was heavy and hard, on the 3rd, I woke up and I was like, yeah, this isn't how, that's not how I want to live my life in that energy. I'm moving forward now in a new mindset, a new way of doing it. And I say new, it's not new. It's what I've been implementing for the last year, but it's in the hardships that were challenged the most. But if I wasn't challenged, I wouldn't appreciate how much growth and understanding and knowledge and power that I have. So I hope that ties into really why it's so important that it is hard sometimes. And I think this is where we get caught up in with things do get to be easy for us. They absolutely get to be easy for us. But equally, we will have hardships along the way, and that's part and parcel of the journey. And the hardships are what creates the richness, because if it was always easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. So you need that little bit of hardship for you to be like, yeah, I worked hard for this. I deserve this. And I think that's really important in anything in life, is that when you can see your hard work's paid off, you appreciate it so much more. It's a bit like say shoes, right? Say if you need just like a quick pair of heels for a night out, you might go to New Look, River Island, somewhere just really cheap and cheerful. Maybe let's say New Look, £25. You're like, cool, £25 pair of heels, cool. And they're the heels that you wear to the death, right? You wear them till the heels falling off, the straps are broken, you know, you literally, they're your ride or die heels. Whereas if you spent, you know, £700 on a pair of Louboutins, do you think you'd be wearing them and ragging them into the ground? Absolutely not. You'd be keeping them for your best thing. You'd be, you know, keeping them in the box, whereas the other pair are just thrown off to the side. So, you know, it really is the energy behind the value. Because the shoes didn't cost a lot of money, the other ones, you don't really care what happens to them. Whereas the ones that did cost a lot of money, you take a lot of care and pride in them. And it's the same with you know, your journey and everything that you're doing. It's like, if the thing that you're trying to achieve takes more work, time, and energy, you'll appreciate it more. Whereas if it was so easy, you wouldn't care. You would literally not care. So I think this is why all of this is so important. So ultimately, I just want you to know that everything that you want to be is already existing within you. And if we're going to take it a step further, in the quantum field, there's probably a version of you that was already living this reality, just saying. But if you're finding it hard to create and stick to your new habits, what habits can you let go of first? You know, that's really what I want to share with you. And actually, on this, I've created a free masterclass that is about unleashing your inner power. And it's all kind of connected to this, you know, setting the boundaries, releasing the things that no longer serve you. And I'm going to pop the link in the show notes. So if you feel like, you know what, I need just a good reset for the new year, or whenever you're listening to this, that will be available in the show notes as a link for you to find. And yeah, just bring a bit of pen and paper, and or if you have my journal already, you can use that and follow along, because I've used parts of the journal within that. And or if you're interested in obviously purchasing my journal, the link's always in the show notes, because I break through all of these concepts in ways for you to understand in the journal, and you can do it in your own time. But for anyone that's feeling like, I do need to do this work a bit further, I need to dive in a bit deeper, I need to kind of get through the blocks that I've set for myself, whether it's confidence, whether it's, you know, trauma related, whatever it is, like, please do reach out and drop me a message, because there's lots of different ways for you to work with me in a one-to-one setting. I've got a self-study available, so you can do that all in your own time. And I will be relaunching the academy throughout this year as well. So if you're thinking about our group setting would work for you, that's also available as well. All of the links are below in the show notes. And also, please do just drop me a message on socials or an email, whatever it is that you want and need. Like, I'm here to support you. That is my job and my purpose, you know, really and truly, is that I didn't go through everything I went through in my life to not utilize it and help others through whatever it is they're going through. That's my alchemy, is my pain to power, which I always talk about. And yeah, I just want you to know that this year will be whatever you choose it to be. And don't be hard on yourself, you know, let more flow into your life. You know, if you have a kind of set goals that you want to achieve, but, you know, you're finding it crazy or hard to do it, how can you make it work? That's always the way that I ask myself, is like, how can I make this work? So yeah, I ask you the same thing. And I'm wishing you an incredible 2024. And then whenever you're listening to this, I'm wishing you an incredible life and day and week and whatever it is. And yeah, please do reach out if you need to. But I'm sending you so much love and light. And yeah, how could you be more you? That's your question for today. Lots of love.